Hello, everybody. Today's session is about NIS2 and related with other components about best practices. And my name is Mustafa Komut. I hope you will have a nice meeting and very uh, thoughtful speech and also getting the best ideas from my side. I'm just sharing my presentation. Yes. This is NIS2 Directive Responsibilities and Strategies for Cybersecurity Management. Thank you very much for all you who have already participated. And also, I'm pleased to welcome all of you on the behalf of CFA Academy. And my name is Mustafa Kumut. Before we go to our topics, I would like to show you some what we are responsibilities, and how we can manage this. CFA Cert is an independent auditing company. It's the member of TÜRKAK, UKAS, and ISS, and also is the member of the British Education Authority and CPT certification services. CFA Cert is also a member of the United Kingdom Cybersecurity Council and also member of the Corporate Risk Management Association, CRYD. We deal mostly gap analysis, training, audit, and certification. These services for mostly covering for information security, AI, compliance, business continuity, IT service management and quality management, GDPR, and personal data management systems. This is NIS2 directive. Today is the topic. I would like to go through about the main aspects of these two directives, and it will cover some intended audience for the executive board level perspective. This is well known in the cybersecurity in the European Union. Our presentation focuses on management responsibilities, strategic decisions, regulatory expectations, rather than technical implementation details. So I am not going to deal with about, let's say, information security core components. I'm not going to deal with, let's say, ISO 27001 Annex controls, and I am not going to deal with, let's say, the best encryption techniques, something like that. No, this is mostly related with executive and board level perspective. We focused on our management responsibilities. Uh, Why needs to matters to boards and executives. Needs to directive represents the paradigm how cybersecurity is approached at the highest levels of organizational governance. Cybersecurity and cybersecurity related threats are no longer merely technical challenges. They are systematic business risks. They can fundamentally impact on operations, reputation, and financial stability. Regulatory aspects, mostly supervisory authority empowered to conduct proactive audits and informs for compliance. Directive explicitly shifts accountability from technical teams to the executive leadership, establishing cybersecurity as a board level governance, which has a direct legal consequences for management bodies. NIS2 is not about IT maturity assessments or technical certifications. It's a fundamentally organizational resilience and leadership accountability in the face of cyber disruption that can threaten the business continuity and stakeholder confidence. Core purpose of the NIS2, basically we can divide into the four main pillars. Strengthen cybersecurity, improve resilience, enable effective response, and establish accountability. Strength cybersecurity, what it means, established consistent, robust cybersecurity standards across all EU member states and sectors. For the mean of improve resilience is ensure critical important entities can withstand, respond to, recover from cyber instance. Entities can be coming from the telecommunication industry, oil and gas industry, all electricity, power, and utilities, which are defined as a critical, mission critical sector for in our world. So this is for critical important in entities means that this is very important. They have to provide 7 days, 24 hours availability. Enable effective response is a create a harmonized instant response and provide recovery capabilities with clear reporting obligations. Means that who, what, when, and how. They have to take an action immediately, most often in crisis management situation. Finally, we have to establish accountability. We cannot say that we have done this. We need to specify who did this. So please explicit responsibility for cybersecurity governance with management bodies. Directive aims to reduce the fragmentation across the member states and raise the baseline level of cybersecurity maturity all sectors. It's recognized in an interconnected digital economy. Uh, Vulnerabilities in one organization can cascade through the supply chains and impact entire industries. Evolution from NIS to NIS2, there is a key changes. First, they have expanded the scope. Coverage extended to significantly more sectors and entity types. It should be very limited, but now it's expanded. And also, second point is, I should say that management responsibility, explicit duties placed on the management bodies with personal liability, and enhanced enforcement, stronger supervisory powers, and substantial penalties for non-compliance. At least I should say that for last decade, we have suffered from the supply chain. So supply chain security also one of the main pillars for the NIS2. So mandatory assessment and management of third party for related with cybersecurity risks has to be evaluated. Under NIS2 domain, ambiguity has been intentionally removed. Organizations are expected to proactively determine whether they fall within the scope and act accordingly. The comply or explain approach is replaced with clear enforceable obligations backed by the supervisor oversight and significant sanctions. Scope and applicability, who is covered? We have to classify the framework. The classification framework, there is essential entities. Organizations whose disruption will have significant impact on public safety and security and economic stability. Subject to more stricter supervision, higher penalties for non-compliance, and more frequent regulatory engagement. Important entities is organizations whose services are vital but whose disruption will have more limited systematic impact. It could be, say, proportional supervision of approach, reduced but still significant penalties, mandatory compliance obligations. There should be the size and structure also taken into account of. There should be medium or large, 50 plus employees, 10 million euros and plus turnover or balance sheet are typically in scope. Cross-border operations and group structures may trigger applicability across multiple jurisdictions. Even organizations not traditionally considered critical infrastructure based on this definition by the under NIS2 may now fall under NIS2 due to expanded sector coverage. So they will be in underline of the NIS2 based on the recognition of digital dependencies across the economy. Uh, I'll just give some examples before the beginning. Maybe we will just cover for electricity, gas, oil, district heating and cooling, hydrogen production and distribution, banking and finance. This is of course is regular one. Water, drinking water supply and distribution, wastewater collection and treatment, public administration. For example, central and regional government entities providing essential public services. You will see that this is cannot be. Before that, I never thought that public administration will be under NIS2. Now, under NIS2 is public administration. I should have said in 10 years ago, critical infrastructure, as I told you before, banking, finance, electricity, utilities, logistics, telecommunication, health and safety. Wow, is public administration is quite interesting now. Uh, Meanwhile, transport you can come across also is very important. Has to be 7 days, 24 hours, and air, rail, water, and road transport infrastructure and operators, healthcare, healthcare providers, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, digital infrastructure. I mean, this is, of course, it should be cloud services, data centers, DNS providers, and ICT service management. Space, operators of ground-based infrastructure supporting space systems. You may consider for, let's say, SpaceX, X, other things. For these are the new technology and for all space systems now under NIS2. So digital service dependencies means that cybersecurity failures are inherent cross-sector. Disruption in one sector, as a digital infrastructure or financial services, can rapidly cascade through interconnected industries, amplifying economical and operational impact. We can never be independent like early. Now we are totally dependent on each other. Digital services, one of the things that important impacts on the all other industries as well. Cybersecurity as a governance imperative, we will just go through for management accountability and leadership requirements. Management accountability under NIS2, uh, it provides ensure risk management. It has to be go through oversee implementation, instant preparedness, accountability for non-compliance. These are the main topics for management accountability under NIS2. You will see nothing so I'm not familiar. Sorry, just one go. I do apologize. I forgot to make it mute my phone. Accountability for non-compliance and instant preparedness we can come across from our crisis management and information security. But here is specifically needs to expects from us. Uh, we have to provide risk management and obligation to verify that approved policies and security measures implemented across the organization and instant response related with the for cybersecurity incidents. Accountability for non-compliance also very important for NIS2 requirements. This is legal responsibility codified in directive and not merely the best practice recommendation. Voluntarily, the guideline management bodies that fail to fulfill these duties face both organizational and personal consequences. Management accountability very important because it's the governance body. It's all gives the more direction, provides to the resource, time, and implementation, and giving them first priority across the organization. What we expect from the personal liability and enforcement sanctions, there is a heavy administrative fines. These are substantial financial penalties as calculated from turnover, potentially reaching millions of euros. There is a management suspension. They may take into the account and they will say that this management will not exist forever. So there is a temporary prohibition from exercising managerial functions under the NIS2 domain. Civil liability and exposure potentially for shareholders or third parties to pursue civil claims for damage resulting from the inadequate oversight. Reputational impact, public disclosure of non-compliance and enforcement actions and cybersecurity failures which are affecting trust and the credibility. NIS2 explicitly introduces consequences of individual management level, creating personal incentives for directors and executives to prioritize cybersecurity governance. This approach reflects the broader regulatory trend towards the individual accountability in areas of significant public interests and systematic risks. Now, I am going to give overlook for uh, scratch to the cybersecurity risk management approach, which provides you for technical and organizational security measures. I mean, we have to take into account this. Mandatory risk management needs to specify minimum security measures. First, instant handling, supply chain security, business continuity and recovery, secure development, access control, and vulnerability management. I'm sure you are all familiar with from the information security and business continuity, but here specifies for NIS2 how we are going to do it under NIS2 domain. Uh, you will come across these one. I'm sure at the end of the session, I'm going to map you between these two and cybersecurity and information security and business continuity, how we are going to match these topics. So this is the basic approach. So mandatory risk management needs to provide these main measures. Instant management and regulatory reporting. This is again, we are familiar from the crisis response and business continuity. Cyber crisis management. This is executive leadership in action. Main things for cyber incident, especially escalation criteria, decision-making structure, internal communication, external communication, and regulatory coordination. There's a crisis leader and cyber incident should managed from the very core team. I mean, it should be highest level in the organization, but very decision-making team. It is not expected to have a big group of people. It should be limited around, let's say, 5 or 6 people. There will be a one CO or CTO. Other one is coming from the legal. Other one is coming from the external affairs. Other one people from the HR, something like that. This is very basic core team. They managed from the crisis management suite based on these basic principles. Escalation criteria, clear thresholds when incident happens, and executive board notification should be handled. Decision-making structure, there should be the defined roles, responsibilities, and authorities. And internal communication is important for if something will happen, how I am going to inform my team, employee messaging, stakeholders, and interested parties. And these are all coming from internal communication and external communications. External communication, one part is very important for the customer notification and also media relations. Regulatory body coordination and regulatory coordination should also handle regulatory coordination as well. In most practical way, external communication is usually managed from the external affairs or regulation team, and regulatory coordination also can be a cyber team as well, but basically dedicated team for this. Management's perspective is cyber crisis can evolve rapidly and create cascading impacts across all your business functions. Attract significant public and regulatory attention. Executive leaderships teams already should be prepared themselves, and they have to take in action in first. First one is what I am going to do, who I am going to respond, who is going to give the instructions, something like that. If we can't manage in the right time, we will really get lost, believe me. Business continuity and organizational resilience. This expects from the NIS2 perspective, organizations should go beyond the traditional availability metrics. Integration with business continuity, cybersecurity must be embedded with broader business continuity and disaster recovery frameworks. And it should be cyber-specific scenarios, recovery objectives, and resilience testing. This is coming from the business continuity acronyms. We call it RTO, RPO, MTPOD, maximum acceptable downtime, or MBCO, minimum business continuity objectives. These basic fundamental parameters also should be aligned with cybersecurity topics as well. Recovery objectives, defined recovery time and recovery point objectives aligned with business criticality. They should be security controls, absorptions for capability and enabling continuing operations during the instance, recovery back to normal stage, process restoring full functionality quickly. These from the business continuity topics. What we do is we embed cybersecurity into business continuity. I mentioned for the supply chain and third-party risk management, which is very important. Supplier assessment, we call it another way of saying is due diligence. We evaluate cybersecurity capabilities and their risk postures from the critical suppliers. You have to define your critical vendors based on cybersecurity and make assessment before contract. After contract means that during the contract, go there and make the audit and get their buying right to audit permission, and then go for audits for site. Contractual let's say requirements include specific security obligations, audit rights, and breach notification clauses. Means that if any cybersecurity related issue happened, they have to inform us immediately. I mean, this has to be right to audit clause written in your contracts. Ongoing monitoring continues to assess supplier security posture and compliance with requirements. How we do this? We do, let's say, I called it a due diligence for our vendors. Assurance activities for conduct, perform regular audits and review certifications and validate security control effectiveness, make the, let's say, heavy penalty if you can. If not, contract based, you can terminate their contract or you can put them in your blacklist as well. Technical and organizational security measures is network and system security, identity access management, logging and monitoring, and configuration patching. I mean, I just made the covered for the very basic topics for. I'm sure you will have much more than this one. But basic one is under the NIS2 domain for network segmentation, perimeter security, secure network architecture and design, endpoint protection and hardening, encryption of data in transit and at rest. These are from network and system security that you are going to do this. Who is going to do this? Your team are going to do this for network and system security. Identity and access management. You may use multi-factor authentication, PAM, we call it privilege access management and monitoring, principle of least privilege enforcement, and regular access reviews and certification. These are the fundamentals of information security coming from also ISO 27001. But here are mostly we need to focus for the NIS2 domain. Logging and monitoring, comprehensive security event logging, you can do this. And real-time threat detection, you can have either SOC or NOC, Security Operations Center, either can be managed by your side or it can be outsourced from the third party. Configuration and patching, you need to have also, we call it minimum security baseline, MSB, secure baseline configuration. Vulnerability scanning and assessment, you need to run for the several tools by your system for vulnerability scanning and assessment, and timely security patch and deployment, and use also for use change management and testing procedures. Which is the weakest point is human factor. You have to develop security culture and awareness in your organization. How you do this? You have a lot of tools, mostly awareness and training. Do it as an induction training from the beginning for new employee or new joiner for your company. Write it down in your code of conduct or ethics in your organization for comprehensive programs related with cybersecurity risks. Roles and responsibility also should be defined for the organization, who, what, when, how. These are has to be like a race matrix. It should be managed in your company. Uh, Also, you need to define in your organization your policies and state it as a compliance for your also other best practices such as information security and also privacy management system. Insider threat management for you do for several testing, phishing testing, threat management, and culture of accountability. Organizational values and behaviors should be defined for accountability. Human behavior should is the weakest part in all over the world. We can manage other things as well. There are three things in any best practices or any, let's say, technical infrastructure, which is first one is technology, second one is process, third one is human. It can never be done without any of them. So we have to have either technology, process, and human part, people. Technology, you have a sophisticated cybersecurity infrastructure. Process, you could use NIS2 or ISO domain 27001. Uh, and human is the most critical one as well. Provide the awareness and training. Provide them roles and responsibility has to be understood. Do site audit and then make them these people are understand what they are going to do. Insider threat management and culture of accountability are your let's say, cornerstone in your mind. And you have to have it always. Supervision and enforcement. There is a compliance requirements for the penalties. I will just this is not a nice topic. I'm sorry to tell you, but we have to show you some penalties. Um, Essential entities maximum fine for 10 million or 2% of total worldwide annual turnover, which is ever higher for the financial penalties. Important entities, maximum fine 7 million. Regulatory scrutiny, increased supervision frequency, there are 100%. Mandatory remediation, uh, beyond financial penalties, authorities can issue binding orders requiring specific security improvements, process changes, or governance reforms. Public and reputational damage. Enforcement actions may be publicly disclosed, creating reputational risks with customers, investors, or other stakeholders. Penalty framework is designed to be genuinely decisive with fines calculated to global turnover, which is for multinational organizations. Integration with existing management frameworks, strategical implementation, and roadmap. You will say that why we are going to do this? Because we have already have our 27001 or 22301 in our company. Why we need to do this? Because NIS2 creates compliance obligations, also provides an opportunity to strengthen the governance frameworks, secure capabilities. It demonstrates cybersecurity maturity to stakeholders. So when you have this, you have already got much more work already completed. Strategic implementation. First, of course, you have to have executive sponsor. You need to tell your CEO, I want to NIS2 implementation. Please provide me all resource, people, budget, make this company first. So this is your expectation from the executive sponsorship. Second phase is applicability confirmation, whether is under NIS2 scope or not. And third one is readiness for assessment, provide or go or let's say call somebody, make them assessment for you. Maybe we can do it as an assessment for gap analysis. And then risk-based prioritization. Critical success factors is cross-functional engagement, resource allocation, realistic timeline, and change management, because you'll change a lot of things in your company as a culture. Phase one, assess, confirm, scope, conduct gap analysis and vulnerabilities. Phase two is design. Third phase is implementation, deploy technical controls and monitor and improve, validate effectiveness and conduct exercise. Being honest, first 3 months, let's say Q1, can be done for gap assessment and scope confirmation. Q2 and Q3, policy development, training delivery, process supervision, and control implementation. And final run is validation testing. You can have it 1 year or let's say 116 months for complete implementation based on your organizational level, of course. Key performance indicators, incident detection rate, I mean, you have to be aware of that. Mean time to contain, mean time to detect, recovery objective achievement. These are, you have to also specify as your KPI. Because if you can't if you can't measure what you have been doing, you will never see that where you are. So you have to define your KPI, instant detection rate. I mean, these are giving you an idea. Of course, this is not the best, but it's the most, let's say, reliable one. You need to have most more strict uh, KPIs for your organization. Common implementation challenges is what you are going to challenge this. You'll say that this too as IT only. This is very low margin, low perspective. This is not a technical issue, I told you. This is broad company-wide implementation. You will fail totally because IT only one part of the organization. You need to have all your organization. Weak executive engagement. Engagement say that, okay, this is not important, but I am going to get. Or most of the cases, they are going to ask us how much money I am going to make based on. If not, what I am going to lose. These are uh, painful questions. You have to prepare yourself for against your executive board member because they are going to challenge you. If they are not on the way of doing this, they are not so interested in, they are very weak executive engagement, again, you will totally fail. Over reliance on tools. Uh, Most of the people believe that if I invest on tools, I am very good. You are spending your money on tools. You are not spending your money for your company. Makes that you make your vendor rich. Your company is not getting rich. So you shouldn't be rely on tools. Remember, technology, process, and people. One has to be have all in your hand. Assuming technology purchase alone, compliance without process governance skills totally fail. Inadequate supplier governance. Before that, we didn't think that supplier governance was very important. Now it has become very, very important. So failing to extend cybersecurity requirements, creating unmanaged supply chain vulnerabilities. Additional pitfalls is underestimating implementation timelines, creating compliance silos, focusing solely on minimum compliance, inadequate documentation, and compliance evidence management, or think that everything has been done by our consultant. Consultants they deal with one-time work. After that, they will go to another company. You will remain with your company as well. You need to do by your company. You may get from the consultancy, but for, let's say, after implementation, you shouldn't go get any consultancy because it's very critical subject for your company. It cannot be managed every time by the third parties, all your company wide. So has to be keen on your resources, and you may use your consultancy for limited time. After that, it will be part of your organization. Mitigation strategies is for these are the topics. Establish your clear governance and executive accountability. integrate NIS2 with existing management frameworks, and balance technical controls with process and culture, and maintain realistic timelines. Don't give your very, let's say, uh, very, let's say, unpredictable timelines. Let's say, I'm going to manage it in 1 year. Maybe you can't. How you know this? Let's go step by step approach and make a gap assessment and then make your decision and strict your plan. You shouldn't be saying yourself that I'm going to manage it very quickly. No. Executive takeaways for core principles. Cybersecurity is a leadership duty. First, accountability cannot be outsourced, which is I already mentioned. Resilience is a strategical objective, and early action reduces regulatory risk. So we have to manage this process very well. Next steps for you, based on my knowledge and our recommendation on the CFA, confirm NIS2 scope and classification. Based on this one, you assign management ownership. Launch NIS2 compliance program. Prepare for supervisory engagement and make your strict timeline considerations. Alignment with complementary standards. 27001 Information Security Management. 22301 Business Continuity Management. And DORA Digital Operational Resilience Act. These are fit our complementary standards, as you know that. These are very helpful in order to implementation of NIS2 compliance. Sector-specific implementation guidance, operational continuity and safety regulations with energy sector, critical infrastructure, strict uptime rules, healthcare, which is important for our patient data protection and resilience. So this is based on NIS2 challenges and requirements. These are very focused on your team as well. Just I give example for financial services for key NIS2 consideration. You are already familiar with DORA, alignment and synergy, critical payment systems, enhanced customer data protection, cross-border operational consistency, and complex regulatory reporting. Energy, if you let me give a implementation for these two. Critical infrastructure, SCADA and OT operational technology, and physical or cyber convergence, supply disruption and risk management, and national authority coordination. Healthcare, safeguarding for critical, again, patient safety, medical device, health data protection, research and data integrity, emergency service continuity. I will just give you practical implementation examples. Case study for ransomware, there is an instant response. 0, detection and initial assessment. There is a ransomware attack. Coordinated action has to be informed, as you know that, 72 hours based on GDPR. And management is CISO, head of IT security, alerted. R2, crisis team activation. And our 6, containment, early warning notification, full instant notification, final instant report, something like that. If you can use this example, I mean, this of course, we just make our best in effort. System uptime, 98%. They say that high severity instance, the threats blocked 1.500 million and patch compliance around 95%. Compliance status overview. These are also regulatory and certification requirement. Uh, 27001 and GDPR adherence are very important for you in order to go for NIS2 roadmap. Now is the budget, cost and resource planning. How much money I am going to spend for NIS2? Well, this is coming from the several resources. I just make a calculation for across the world. Technology investments around 40%, ongoing operations at 5%, personal costs around 30%, process and governance 15%, instant response around 10%. These are strategical allocation for effective NIS2 compliance. I mean, you can see from across the in your company, UK, and also you can compare with also uh, United other companies, United States as well. So this is for across the world, according to our calculations. Return of investment, yeah, as I told you, your boss is going to challenge you. We are mitigating the risk. We are saving the money for having NIS2 in our hand. So risk reduction and also loyalty from coming from our customer trust. We improve our SaaS for the instant response, and also we improved operational resilience and continuity. Also, we decreased the risk from the regulation around the penalty and brand reputation. Uh, you need to develop, I told you, the training and awareness programs, role-based training, and this has to be tailor-made. We don't like having one training session covering for all bodies. No, board members different separated. Executive management should be also separate. IT and security teams also separate. General employees also separate, and third parties also separate. These are role-based cybersecurity training. Do you need to also run a campaign for security awareness? Phishing, passwords, data protection day, instant response drill, security remote work campaign. Audit and assessment tools for measuring compliance and identifying critical gaps in cybersecurity postures. This is again for self-assessment checklist. You need to do this before you to start for NIS2 implementation, governance, risk management, technical controls. These are the high values based on our assessment, so business continuity and supply chain. NIS2 self-assessment checklist. You will use this checklist, no or partial. You will give your marks across your company, and so you will see that how you are ready for NIS2 implementation. Maturity level, you'll at the beginning level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and level 5. Again, since if you have already ISO 27001 and GDORA and GDPR already implemented, I am sure that you will go from around, let's say, level 2 or level 3 because you have already got another management systems. Year by year, you are going to get your maturity level according to the higher level as well. So managed and optimized is the perfect level. You will mostly be around level 3 or level 4. From us, from the CFA certification and our company, again, we thank you for your participation. We have also other services here we would like to also share for you. By the end of this session, thank you very much for your participation. Please don't leave. We have a certification. Our team are going to send you a link and we are going to provide you a certificate. Thank you. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome.